I'm the producer of the movie, and thank you all for coming. We're thrilled to be here at Google. You know, the movie business is a tough business, so when you make a small movie, you want lots of people to see it, and the fact that we came here to Google, that's been fantastic, and we're thrilled to have you here as an audience. I am lucky to be partners in this movie with a guy who you're going to all see in a second, who is literally a Hollywood legend. He created the show Everybody Loves Raymond, which I'm sure many of you have seen, and now he is moving into film. And he is a talent behind the camera, in front of the camera. He's funny, as you've seen, and it's very unusual to have him coming out and doing Q&As. So without any further ado, I'd love to introduce Phil Rosenthal, who's the director and star of the movie, Exporting Raymond.
It's now good. It's now good to come. Hi, guys. Thanks, John. What's this? This is the new Google microphone?
You can sit or stand, and so.
Do you put it in your body? Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming to the film. You saw the film? All right, very nice. How's, I'm here for you. I'll answer any questions that you need to know. I'm very technically minded, so I know a lot of you aren't. But I can help you with any, you know what, I'm good at, like, relationship problems. So if any of you, in that department, I can help you. I can't really help you with the computer things, honestly. But the other things, the softer things, that I can help with.
Why don't you start by talking about just the fact that it's a documentary, which is very different than
It is a
done.
documentary. I guess the way it came about was the head of Sony called me in his office and he told me that Sony invented the sitcom in Russia. It didn't exist until they brought The Nanny over. I think you saw that part, right? And that became a big hit. And he said, how would you like to go over there and just observe how we work with these people and then come back and write a fictional feature film about a creator of a show who goes to Russia to have his show translated. And I said, well, if the situation exists, these people really exist, why not just bring a camera crew over and film what would really happen? And he said, I love that idea. Would you go do your show over there and not only make the movie, but be in the movie? So you have to, I love every part of the business. I started as an actor and became a writer, then a director, then a producer. And so I love every aspect of the business except the business. That's the bad part. But all the other stuff I love. So this was too good an opportunity to pass up until I got there. Yeah. Hello. That's Google's secret code thing. Assassinate him now.
Now, naturally, we'd love to, if you have any questions, but we can certainly talk about, some of the things in the movie, like your parents.
Again, my parents? No, they're very special people. They're kind of the stars. Most people see them as the stars of the movie. They steal the movie, I think. They're inimitable. You had a question right here. Are we doing microphone passing?
Sure.
All right, here we go.
It seemed, from the movie at least, that you're an expert, an evangelist of the family. I mean, it seems like you sort of know what an American family is, or even universally, what the truths are of families all over the world. What do you think is holding true, and what's going to change in the future? I mean, if you're getting into film, and I imagine that you're going to continue with what you're an expert in, continue to make movies, shows about the truths of being a family. But are those going to change, or what's going to hold?
Do you mean do I think families will change?
Sure. Well, I mean,
families have changed already. Like, there's already a difference between Everybody Loves Raymond and Modern Family, right? Which is a fantastic representation of what a family is today, and they do it great. And they found a way to make it a modern family. I believe that a family is anywhere people are forced to live together. right? Like you guys really do, in my little time that I've had here already, you kind of have this Google family. I mean, you're sitting in a room with people, I know it's a huge organization, but do you feel like you know each other? I'm just curious. Or are most of you, like, this is the first time you've seen a lot of people? Yes, it is?
The process is pretty good, so I think we do have a sense of everyone else in the room just from that, maybe. I don't know.
Just from what? Just from
this idea of googliness, maybe we have a sense of...
Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
That's so clear. Look, just to, I got to tell you, because we're on the same wavelength about at least one thing. When I was making the television show, and you're bringing people together who have never worked together before, even though they're in the same business and they understand the business of TV the way you understand the business of what you do, how do you make people feel like a family, strangers? And I found out what it is. It's food. I swear to God, that is essential. And just walking around here and saying, oh yeah, eat whatever you want. And there's 35 other places where you can eat whatever you want, anytime you want. I'm like, oh, I want to live here. And I love everyone. If you have, let's say you're on a movie shoot or a TV shoot, and you just put out crap for the people to eat, like potato chips, I mean, just junk food, jelly beans, stuff like this. First of all, it doesn't keep them alive the way you want them to be. But they grab it just because they're hungry and or bored, and go back to their jobs without really communicating. But if you do what I did, which is once in a while, here comes some cinnamon rolls from Chicago. Here comes some pastrami and deli from New York, and that stuff is on the table. Then you go over, you've never met him before, and you go over and you eat, oh my God. They say, oh my God, did you try this? And they say, yeah, right away we're talking. And it's about something nice. Food connects us all in the most elemental way. And your people here who thought of this idea of making the food great and ubiquitous and all the time and as much as you want. I mean, first of all, nobody here is 300 pounds either, which is surprising because I think the first thing I would do, when I first came to Hollywood, I had been a starving actor, literally, and when you're working in the writer's room, the only sunshine coming in that room, you're there all day, is the menu. So, you mean I can get an appetizer and an entree? Yes. And dessert? Yes. Anything I want? Yes. Every day? Yes. I gained 30 pounds. Right away. But I felt, taken care of, the way your mom takes care of you. That's what food does. So welcome to my talk about you and food.
I had a question myself, Phil.
Please.
I think in the industry terms, Raymond and shows like that are called 3-camera shows, or is it 4-camera?
Now it's 4-camera. It did start, you know who invented the 3-camera sitcom that we know? Do you know? It was Desi Arnaz when they made I Love Lucy. That was the first time they had used multiple cameras to film a show.
And the second part is supposedly, I think I've read that shows like 30 Rock and The Office and Parks and Recreation are called 1-camera shows.
Yes.
Somebody walking around with a camera. And what's your feeling about the difference between those two formats?
Well, obviously the 30 Rock shows and The Office, those are made like a movie, so you're watching a film. Our show and the shows that came before us, and the ones that are on now, these are 4-camera shows that are written, rehearsed, and presented as a play in front of an audience. And it's this perfect in-between film and theater, because you get the theatrical experience, right? Written, rehearsed, all week, presented to real laughing people, hopefully, who come on Friday nights to watch the taping. This then is preserved and tweaked and edited like a movie. So to me, it's always been the best of both worlds. You get to have the pliability and yet the permanence of film of your theatrical event, right? So that I love it. I don't see why it fell out of favor. I really don't. I think apparently this season, when you start watching TV this season, you're going to see more of them. It's just everything is cyclical. It comes back around, right? But listen, there's great single camera shows too. My favorite one right now is Louie. You watch Louie? You guys know that show? Yeah. Isn't it great? Amazing show, right? So I love that. But yeah, he's awesome. But there's no, I can't say one form is better than the other. There's good and bad everything.
I want to just go back to families for a second. I mean, Everybody Loves Raymond is in 148 countries, currently subtitled or dubbed. And so the idea of family is appealing, globally. But this new local language, culturally adjusted development of television shows is kind of a new concept. And when Phil went over to help the Russians try to translate this for their audience, that's something that has taken hold and is now the trend in entertainment, and really maybe commenting on family, confronting family internationally and culturally adjusting the impressions of family is something that's interesting.
It turns out that they were the toughest ones to get to come on board. Now that it's a hit in Russia, the way they do it is just like the way they did with The Nanny, because Russia's the biggest foreign territory, all the other foreign territories follow suit. So Poland really did call. They really are doing the show. I'm not going. But they're doing the show. Then Israel, Egypt, India, England, Argentina, all these places are now lining up to do this. The Netherlands is already doing it. This actually may become, Sony is telling me, it probably will become the most produced show in the world. I'm shocked, but then again, I have to say, why not? It is, as I've maintained, about a relatable thing. Not that it's so fantastic or the best show ever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it seems to be relatable because it's about stuff that doesn't change. Family, right? So they seem to have that everywhere.
I just saw a clip. Phil sent me clips from Poland and from Egypt.
Yes.
The Egyptian version is hilarious. It's subtitled in English, and you don't know what to expect, but honestly, it's the items in the show might change because of where it is, but this dynamic between husband and wife and mother-in-law and father-in-law is the same everywhere, and it is absolutely hilarious. Who would have thought?
A couple questions. One was the actor that you didn't get that you wanted, I think his name was Evgeny or something?
Evgeny Miller, great actor.
Yeah, did you ever hear later if he regretted that he wasn't allowed to?
I think he shot himself.
Look at that. This is their sense of humor. No, I look, the theater master owns that guy, right? He owns every actor. That's true. In Russia, even the tiny theater masters, from the tiny theaters, not real little theater masters, from little theaters, they tell you that once you sign up, they run your career. Now, the Moscow Art Theater, I mean, this guy, he is God. I mean, to these people, he is God. It just so happens God likes the singing fish on the wall. But he tells them that once you sign up, that's it. And obviously he has to let some actors out to do film and TV work, otherwise there'd be no film and TV work. This guy, though, he was saving for himself, because maybe he was young and maybe he didn't even tell him, the actor didn't tell the guy that he went on the audition because he was so afraid. He was going to, if it comes out later that I got it, then I'll worry about it then. And it did. And he said, no, absolutely not. So I'm sorry. I mean, you felt my frustration.
The other question was, after it took off there, did they reconsider the live audience part of it?
They did reconsider it and decided it's cheaper to do it their way. The excuse they gave me was, we would have to get chairs. Here's what you have to know. In America, it's $1 million, $2 million per half hour, right? And then, God forbid you become successful and the actors want even more money, so it could become, I think by the time we were done shooting, it was like $4 million an episode. There, all in, I mean, pre-production, post-production, food, everything, editing, $80,000 an episode. And I have to say, it looks it. it looks like we took one camera and shot in your basement because that's pretty much what they did. So that's the way it looks. And by the way, it plays. It's not like it doesn't play. So they film it every other day, an episode, because all they're doing is taking our scripts, filming them every other day like a soap opera, because that's what they know in the half-hour format. Then they're on every night, Monday to Friday. So they're going to burn through 9 years of my show in a year and a half. Good luck. Then they have to write their own. Good luck. Yeah.
I had a question. Over here.
Hello.
First, thanks for bringing your movie. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I know you probably cut it in a way to make it mysterious what happens to your driver.
Yes.
But you have to know what happened to the guy, don't you?
I don't.
It's a Russian mystery.
I think I can clarify. So there are like sanatoriums outside of big cities.
Are you from Russia?
Yes.
Great.
So like my grandmother loves those, and she would disappear for two
This is
weeks,
what
and you know where she went. It's,
This is what I learned, that it's both. He went on vacation to a place where they do the tests. Is that right?
yeah.
And that was a joke that we made. Maybe in Russia 12 days of tests is a vacation. It is. It is, right? You can go to a place that's both. I drove 3 hours outside of Moscow to this place.
Older people to do this, not elder.
But he had something wrong. Here's the other thing that they told me. Tell me if this is true. I'm so glad you're from Russia. First of all, did you like the movie?
Oh, it was awesome.
Did it seem familiar to you, these people? These characters?
Yeah, I visited Moscow for the first time after 17 years.
Yes. Well, that's changed very
I
much.
went last summer, right?
Yeah.
And, I had kind of a distended experience. Not quite sure what to make of it.
Great.
The costume designer was the best character.
By the way,
We certainly didn't have those 17.
you say, well, so it's my first meeting, everything is in real time and nothing has been manipulated. You say I edited the movie to make it mysterious. I didn't do one thing. I didn't change anything. I didn't manipulate anything. Yes, I understand certain rules of comedy, so if somebody says something funny, that's probably a good place to get out of the scene. Right? I had 200 hours. I couldn't show everything. So I wanted to tell my story. But, for example, that first meeting with the costume lady, I'm there and I just explained, I just think it should be relatable. And here, this lady, dressed the way she is, she raised her hand. I think the show should be used to teach the population about high fashion. So I think, wow, that's unusual. The costume lady gets to say what she thinks the show should be. That's not like how we do it here. I'll play. Let's listen. Maybe there's something, and I listen. I think, oh, well, she's obviously crazy. So I think this is just how it is in Russia. But you saw that there were 10 months of I went away and it came back because they shut down production in Russia for 10 months. Come back. Now I have a new costume lady, perfectly normal. Fine. It wasn't Russians, it was this lady. I happen to get lucky enough, and I really do consider myself lucky because you want to populate your film with funny characters, right? Just a gift. And talking about my parents, that's a gift. I had no idea they would be so funny. People ask me, how did you get the Russians to behave this way? And I didn't. Why would they behave this way on camera? I don't know why, but look at my parents. You go to their house where they live for 40 years, right? You come in, I don't know if you've been filmed before, but here it is. They take a wire and they put it up the front of the inside of my mother's blouse. She's not used to this kind of tension. And they clip a thing to her backside, and my father too. I have to wear this on my ass, he says. And two guys with big cameras and lights and another guy with a boom microphone in their kitchen. Within 5 minutes, they're fighting as if nobody's there. So this is, I guess, how we get documentaries, how we get reality shows made. People forget that the camera's on after a very short amount of time.
Or when you called back on Skype and you didn't even know if they would answer.
Well, that now you're talking about documentary. You're talking about luck. You have to have luck. We all have to have luck in every aspect of our lives, but no more so than in a documentary, where you're turning on the camera, and if you don't want to manipulate it, if you don't want to falsify something, you are reliant on the luck. So who knew when this came up organically at the dinner with that beautiful family about Skype, who knew, first of all, think of all the things that have to happen for that to work. They have to be awake, right, from New York, from Moscow. They have to know how to turn the computer on. This is already a big deal. They have to know how to work Skype. You saw they barely got it. And then the beauty of the comedic, first just my mom's looking like this, and then that they would start fighting again, that something would go wrong, and they would fight creating something that you would write, if you could, a comedic callback to their relationship from the beginning. And it happened in the real time that you see it in the movie. We didn't take it from another time in my story. It really happened towards the end of my visit, where it happens in the movie. When I'm sick of the Russians, I don't want to talk to them anymore. I don't even want to go to this house. And then this beautiful thing happens. I'm very lucky. That's the point. Luck, luck, luck. You had more to say.
Speaking of how things changed, I mean, it's not strictly true that sitcoms are new in Russia. I mean, I remember in the early 90s, there were sitcoms, but speaking of reality TV, reality is what changed, right? Because I remember very vividly a scene in one of those early sitcoms, and there was a guy bringing back what he thinks is a VCR in a box from like the black market, right? And he opens it up, and there's bricks in it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, no, I mean, stuff like this happened to people. It was devastating, right?
It was devastating because he spent the month.
There were no laughs in that show.
No.
So maybe that's the change, right? People can afford to laugh sometimes.
The Raymond show, the Kostya show, it's now called the Voronins. Have you heard of it? Have any of your family back there heard of it? It's the most popular sitcom on the air there now. By the way, Sony, very nice. They wanted to send me, I know you're into what happens in the news. A few months ago, they said, how would you like to go to Cairo? In the middle of all that. What are you talking about? They want to do the show. You should go and help them. Now? You see what's happening? They didn't care.
You should talk about maybe some of the things that didn't show up in the movie that you're encountering.
I talked to Eldar off camera. I said to him, you know, Eldar, I really do feel safe with you. I'm very glad you're my security. And he said, Mr. Rosenthal, I have to tell you, Sony did not go for the gun package. So not only do you feel a little less safe, you feel bad that they don't even think you're worth a gun packet. So go to Cairo. Why don't you send me to Afghanistan next? Yeah. I can tell you one more thing that I left out, because no one will see this. You leave things out also because you don't want them to be taken the wrong way. So when I met that head of comedy, and he really did insult me at that dinner, saying I'm not funny, the show's not funny. And that's fun to say at the beginning of a dinner. Now I have to sit through the whole dinner, right, with this guy. And they interviewed me after the dinner, what'd you think? And I did say on camera, I said, we meet the head of comedy. It doesn't really look like a head of comedy. I did go on to say, and I cut this because I didn't want it to be taken the wrong way. He looks like something out of Schindler's List, and not the list part. Because, you know, that could be taken the wrong way.
You did look like a villain, like a classic Russian villain.
You can't write that guy, right? You can't write that. That's just,
The eyebrows?
again, luck. And they really did bring him from the world of laser beams. By the way, you meet just as many heads of comedy in America. This is not to disparage Russians at all. I've met the most humorless people in my life are heads of comedy.
We'll take one more question.
You said that people usually forget right away that they're on camera.
Are you from Russia too?
Yes, I am. And these two guys are as well.
Really? And you like the movie okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I have to tell you, Sony's very worried. Sony's very worried they're not going to show the movie in Russia. because they're worried, what if Putin sees this movie and takes all their products off the shelves in Russia? I said, if Putin sees this movie, I'm giving you an award for marketing. You can get it to him.
Incidentally, we were invited to the Moscow Film Festival.
It's true, but we can't go. What? Fear.
Not letting us go.
Yes. Yes.
So you said that people usually forget that they are on camera.
Yes.
Do you forget
Yes.
that?
Yes.
So when you were filming, were you keeping in mind that everything that you're actually saying is being filmed by the people?
That's a great question. I guess somewhere in the back of your head you have to know this, but I don't think I'm that good an actor to have faked what you saw. These were real reactions because I really was shocked. Once in a while, if somebody tells me that for fun he plays musical instruments made out of enema bags, I can't believe my ears, and so I turn to the only people with me to say, did you get that? That something, but it has to be that big to take you out of the moment. Did you hear what I just heard? Is that right? Or when the singing fish starts and he's like, pretty funny, huh? You have to look at the camera and say, he thinks it's funny. But that's the only time, and here's what I did. I took 2 cameras with me. Most of the time, when you make a documentary, it's 1 camera. And they would film you talking to me, and then they'd tell you to wait while they went around behind you and did the reverse angle, meaning now film my fake reaction to you talking, and then edit it together, right? I didn't want to do that for 2 reasons. I didn't want to fake anything. That's the first reason. The second reason is I wanted everything covered so that I wouldn't have to think about it. So if I have 2 cameras shooting everything, and I think the movie wants to be, before I even go, I'm thinking, I think the movie wants to be how I react to them and how they react to me. And that seems to be the culture clash at the center of the film. So if we film always me and always them, we have it, and I don't have to worry. So once that decision is done, I don't have to think about it until editing, putting the movie together.
Also, do people understand that they will look not the way they want to be seen? And how do you get them to agree to actually being shown this way?
Look at my parents. It's the same. In other words, they have no trouble fighting in front of the camera. Right? Max, you don't know what you're doing. You know, she'll say that on camera. And now she sees, she goes like this. But they don't stop and think about it at the time. You know? Maybe I shouldn't have just said those things about Sony because I'm being filmed. But I did.
And one of the technical answers to that is that everyone signs a release.
Before we film them.
Before you start filming.
Yes. In the one case, like I think there was one case where I talked to a couple on the street. She says, don't talk to him with your mouth full, right? We didn't know what we would get from them. We didn't think they would kill each other on the street, but then somebody has to go, and it took a very long time to get those 2 people to sign a release because they're real Russians, and they think they're signing something that puts them in jail for the rest of their lives. International. It's international. We need it for everywhere.
Well, there's separate laws, but you need fundamentally you need a release for anyone that appears in the movie.
And the release basically says we can use this any way we want, anytime we want, anywhere we want. Right?
You signed our release, right?
Nope. I learned something before I Googled.
A warm welcome for John and Phil for coming and giving us a good afternoon of entertainment.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
This was fun.
This was.
All right.